Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an artist, graphic designer and illustrator from Leicester, England. I like travelling, creating, cooking, going to the game, jumping in the water and stuffing my face. In early 2023, I decided to put all my stuff into storage, sell my car and go travelling, embracing life as a digital nomad, flying around the world and working remotely in other countries. So far, it's been a blast. I've been making memories, exploring different cultures and embracing different ways of life. I've made a bunch of new friends, had a bunch of visitors from back home come out to stay with me, tried local cuisines, fell into tourist traps and had way too much sunshine. Some of my favourite days since I've been away are the days where I've put the iPad in a bag, gone for a wander until I found somewhere to post up, enjoying the scenery and drawing something. So I want to bring you with me as I document my journey and try to adjust to life on the move, finding inspiration and living my dream of working and travelling, drawing and exploring. What's happening, my people? Welcome to another episode of Drawing and Exploring with me, Sam Grubb. I've made my way to sunny Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I travelled from Podgorica in Montenegro, and it's hard renting a car and driving it over borders. That's one thing that I've found here. It's kind of most of the rental companies just don't even offer it as an option, even though the countries are really close together. So annoyingly, to get from Podgorica to Mostar regularly by car, it's about a 3-hour drive. Did I say Mostar to Podgorica? Either way, other way around. But I had to travel via Croatia, so I had to go via Dubrovnik, stay overnight in Dubrovnik, which wasn't so bad. Flying visit, had a little bit of dinner, looked out onto the water, and then up and at 'em again early the next day to jump on the bus and make my way to Mostar. So I arrived here about midday yesterday. Hadn't had a great amount of sleep, so I just kind of chilled out yesterday, did the big shop, a couple of other bits and bobs like that. But first impressions are, it looks like a really cool place. So Mostar is the 5th largest city in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It said it's the historic capital of Herzegovina, so even though I was looking into some Bosnian history earlier, I don't really know how Herzegovina fits into it. I'd be interested to look into that today, try and learn a little bit more. Going to cross the road there, just had to pump fake. But yeah, so I've got to check it out. But 5th largest city, it was founded in 1542, 450 square miles, and it said, as per the census, there's 116,000 people living in the city and 60,000 people living in the surrounding areas. So pretty buzzing to check it out. My original plan was, I was looking at somewhere to stay for 3 months, and this is before I even started about filming content and kind of starting a channel. But I was looking at somewhere in the Balkans for 3 months. Initially, I was looking at Croatia. It looks to be pretty expensive. I think post Game of Thrones, it's just shot up there. Even Dubrovnik was nuts just for one night. And then I was looking at Albania and Tirana and Pristina and these other places, and kind of thought, you know what, with everything being nearby, I might just kind of bop around and do what I've done. So it's been really cool. And then just before I booked Bosnia, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and she said that she'd travelled and spent some time in Mostar and strongly recommended it. Said she loved it way more than Sarajevo, which is obviously the capital. So that's how I found myself here. It's got a cool old town, there's a bazaar, there's a couple of mosques because there's some interesting Ottoman Empire history and some other stuff. I'm going to talk more about Bosnia's history later. I was reading some stuff this morning and learnt a few bits, so it's quite interesting. But yeah, old town, cobble streets, chill Balkan vibe. Definitely one to be checked out. So I'm glad I made it here. First impressions are really cool. The apartment's nice. There's a huge supermarket just across the road, which always helps. It's pretty chill. It's pretty similar to the rest of the countries I've been this summer. As you can see, it's pretty quiet. It's a Sunday. The big supermarket's definitely shut, so keeping in line with the Montenegrins on that front. But yeah, I'm excited to get down. There's a river that runs through the middle. So first stop, I'm going to get downtown. There's a famous bridge that overlooks the river, and a lot of the other sort of touristy bits and cool things to see are really closely together, kind of in the south of the centre of the city. So excited to go check that out. I'm on my way there now. But yeah, let's get into it and have a look. From here, that's the Stari Most bridge, or Old Bridge. It's a 16th century Ottoman Empire bridge that was absolutely shelled to smithereens in 1993 by the Croats. So they've actually rebuilt it, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, swarming with tourists. It's so busy. I'm in the old town now. There's a bunch of people around. So it's nice, it's quiet, it's cobbled, pedestrianised, but there's loads of people. But yeah, interesting. The bridge was, they said that the Ottomans had a dry run with, I can't remember the name of the other bridge. But there's a smaller exact replica of the bridge just over there, a couple of minutes away. And that was so that they could test it, it could bear a load and check the architecture and structure of the bridge. But yeah, this is easily the most touristy tourist attraction here. If you Google Mostar or look on any fridge magnet or painting or anything around here, you're going to see a depiction of this circular bridge. So yeah, off into the old town. I've been actually just filmed this same link and then had that temperature warning on my phone. So I've been thinking about buying one of those little vlog cameras. I didn't even consider that as an option, you know. The fact that it's not going to get overheated the way an iPhone does. That's the first time that's happened to me since I've been doing this. But yeah, just walking through the old town. Like I said, it's cobbled, pedestrianised. It's pretty cool. Having been in like a couple of big-ish cities recently, you know, it's nice to walk through a pedestrianised area that feels a little bit more quaint. And what's really interesting is, I think there might be a Turkish community here. Like, check this, Turkish flag just flying there. So I wonder if this is where the Turks in Mostar reside. I'm going to have to do a bit of research, but it definitely has a little Turkish vibe to it. Kind of feels a little bit like Medina if you've been to Marrakesh. But But yeah, super cool walking around. There's a mosque just down here also, which would make sense. So I'm going to go check the mosque out. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the history of Bosnia that I've learned. Some fascinating stuff.
Inside is a mosque. In the mosque there are steps to the minaret, and outside the viewpoint of the
All right, guys, views from the minaret in the Koski Mehmed Pasha Mosque in Mostar, Bosnia. Pretty cool, sick way to see the city. It's like we're pretty high up right now, but it's making me want to climb even higher because the views are wicked. But I thought this would be as good a place as any to talk to you about what I found out about the history of Bosnia. So initially there were Roman settlers here, and then eventually the Ottoman Empire were here. And then after that, it was ruled by the Austrians. So they ruled up until the First World War, when they came out of power, and then the nation of Yugoslav was formed. That was the first time these countries in the area banded together. And then swiftly after that, World War II followed. The nation of Yugoslavia fell. The Nazis left Bosnia in the hands of the Croats, and the Croats swept in, and they were going mad. They were killing a bunch of native Serbs and a bunch of native Jews. Then after World War II finished, the Serbs formed a resistance, but they started killing the Bosniaks, the local Muslim community. That raged on until the communists came to rule. I think when was the communists? Like the 70s, 80s, maybe a little before. And they said that they want everyone to get along. So they formed the People's Republic of Yugoslavia. And their slogan was brotherhood and unity. And they said, come guys, let's just try get along for a bit. And that's exactly what they did. So when I say the guys, we're talking Bosniaks, which is, like I said, the local Muslim community. You've got the Serbian Orthodox, and then the Catholic Croats. And they all lived peacefully for a while until the leader of the communists died. And then a lot of kind of racial tension started to come back to the surface, and a lot of hatred between the communities came back to the surface, and the war started again. So the Serbs decided to take action. They sieged Bosnia. The Bosnian leader was unwilling to further divide the country. And that's when the war started to rage on. So Serbs, they killed a bunch of Croats, killed a bunch of Bosnians and Bosniaks. And this went on for years and years until America got involved. America sent in NATO troops, and they started bombing Serbian military sites and things like that. And obviously the war came to an end in 1995. I'm not sure whether you would have watched the episode when I was in Pristina talking about their love for Bill Clinton, but I'd imagine it's a similar vibe here, because Bill Clinton was all over the news clips that I was watching last night. So yeah, as of 95, it's been a peaceful country. The communities have lived next to each other, they've regrown economically, and they've tried to get along with each other. One thing I heard was that I think the Balkans hosts the biggest NATO base outside of America. So I'm sure America had alternative reasons for caring about what was going on in some little countries in the middle of Eastern Europe. But yeah, that's a super brief history. Hopefully I've not minced the words too much, and you can obviously Google to go find out more, but that's a very brief overview about how modern day Bosnia came to be. Pretty interesting country. I'll be interested to know if there's still a little bit of beef within the communities, because I mean, what the Serbians did was pretty horrendous. There was, like, you're talking proper ethnic cleansing, killing people. Over 100,000 people died during the war, which just seems ridiculous. I'd be interested to know if there's still sort of a little bit of, I don't know, bad blood, but do you know what I mean? If you get people talking, I wonder if they're still like, damn, yeah, bad times. It really wasn't that long ago at all. But yeah, I've got to climb back down the tower. The steps were crazy. It was tiny and spindly. I never really considered what was in the inside of one of these towers whenever I've looked at a mosque, but it's just this never-ending spiral staircase. Horrible if you're remotely claustrophobic. So I'm going to get back down, get back to ground level, and then talk about the work I'm doing today. So today's work, I've got a cool one. My friend Nico reached out. Nico works in nightlife, he organises raves, and about a year ago, he opened his own space on Leicester High Street called Doppler. It's a studio space, it's a nightclub, it's a bar, but the club's really cool. They do there's no phones on the dance floor. It's a proper like old school kind of rave venue, dark, big speakers, cool vibe. But he told me about something he's doing. So they're working on a collaboration with the Tree, formerly known as the Orange Tree, which is a long mainstay pub on Leicester High Street. And recently, I say recently, probably the last year or so, they've started doing like proper events there. So they'll have DJs, feature music, speaker stacks. They just had a sound system event there, and people are going there to rave and have a bit of a good time. So he's launching like an official after party sort of thing. Obviously, I guess the Tree's still open sort of pub hours. So he's launching an after party collaboration, something between the Tree and Doppler Studio, which is the name of his club. And he wants a t-shirt designing. So he's going to need a couple of bits. They're going to need a poster. They're going to need some digital assets as well. But the main thing is going to be a t-shirt. So we've been talking about the idea. He wants to make it something people will want to wear, something that people will want to, something that you can sell to people. So it needs to be kind of stylish. And we're thinking to go with like a foliage sort of theme, intersperse the Doppler logo, a little bit of small print on it, make it cool. So that's today's work. I'm just strolling back through the old town now. I'm going to try find somewhere to get set up with the iPad and get to it. All right, so I just found some little cafe. I'm not too sure on the name because I knew I wasn't there too long. But yeah, just getting started here. So this was a rough sketch that I sent over to Nico just to show him my kind of the idea what I had. I thought I'd leave this in a video just to show you guys the first part of the process. And yeah, like I said, just the Doppler logo there in the middle, and kind of wanted it to be surrounded by bushes and greenery and stuff. I think, like, I don't know, when I spoke to Nico, he was saying, oh, you know, it's not really a tree, even though it's obviously the Tree is the name of the pub. But I didn't really want it to be. I just wanted it to be like outdoors. They've got a huge garden space at the Tree, which is really cool, and that's where they play the music. So I thought it'd be cool if it was like a bit, you know, plant-based or whatever. And yeah, so this was the idea. I started roughing out. Obviously, the text is just super rough. Got the message in there, teamwork makes the dream work, that Nico wanted in there, and just kind of trying to build up around that. So yeah, just getting the leaves in there. This is a little t-shirt template that I use all the time. Just something that I drew on Procreate, and then I just use it for different layouts. It's just nice to, it's easy to change the color of the garment and then just like impose the artwork over the top. It's a handy one to have in my bag, to be honest. Just something to show people to kind of better visualize what they're looking at. Here I'm copying the two layers over and then just making them white so they can sit on the green t-shirt. And then yeah, this is into the proper thing. So a couple of bits that I'd made on the computer. So there you can see I've made the Doppler logo sort of 3D. And then I've also got a couple of typographic pieces that I'd made
just to drop them in. And I started to use these photos. So these were photos that I'd gathered in the day just as I was walking around, and I thought I'd pick out some of the leaves just to, I don't know, just to make them sit right, and I can still kind of pick out the main lines, but then just to get a couple of little branches in and some leaves that are kind of folded over. I don't think if I was drawing them freehand, I don't think I'd necessarily think to make them sit this way, but as you can see, some of them are just crinkled and kind of thin and stuff, but in the end it makes it look just a little bit more realistic, I guess. So just trying to figure out, like, I wanted them to be in a ring around the logo and make it so that the logo is just appearing from within the plants. Couple of little branches in there, as ever using the Frasernet brush. So this is Procreate, this is the software I use. It's a app for iPad, and I use a stock drawing brush, which is just it's called Frasernet. It's a pencil. I should really look at what that is. It sounds kind of French, right? I guess whether it's like I know they've got one, Karen Dash, which is a brand. It's not a woman called Karen. It's like, I think it's spelt with a C, but it's like another French name for a pencil technique, I guess, or like a brand of pencil. But yeah, using this Frasernet brush, Procreate on the iPad. It's a 5th generation iPad Pro, 12.9 inch, and I'm using a 2nd generation Apple Pencil. Here I'm thinking to put a little bit more of the tree sort of stuff in. So I was working on this and it just wasn't working for me. I think I wanted to stick with the initial idea of like the bigger leaves. Nico's direction was to put in a bit more of a tree sort of vibe, but I just don't think it looked right. Look, it sticks out against the rest, so that ends up coming out. Here I'm on the layer for the Doppler logo, and I'm just erasing the parts that kind of overlap, so you can see it's starting to take shape here. I like this text. What's it called? Copper? Is it copper black or something, this typeface? But I've used it on a couple of t-shirt designs before. I always think it looks contemporary and cool. I think I end up binning that off and going back to the start again. But a similar sort of vibe. Same sort of approach to the leaves and the foliage, but it wasn't looking very circular, I guess, with whether I'd just picked out the wrong parts of the plant or something like that. So started from scratch again. Just thinking about the little bits of shadow that are in as well. Obviously, when the design's inverted and it's light ink on a dark t-shirt, obviously green in this case, I think those little darker, fuller bits, little shadow bits, they're just going to stand out and make it a little bit more graphic. But yeah, like those little bits there where it's just overlapping. So I'm just trying to build it out really and make it, look a bit wild and random. Make it look as if it's actually in situ. Turning the image in the background and tracing some more leaves. You can see it's starting to build up a little bit now. I think compared to the first draft as well, I've made the leaves just a little bit smaller. Yeah, these are all pictures of plants that I saw when I was going around in the day. Not this one, this is from Google, the cheese plant, but even though I guess that's a house plant, I still just love the shape of that leaf. I think it's such a cool design and cool to have on a t-shirt. Keeping in a couple of the branches, erasing a couple of bits there where you can see it coming through, and just adding a little bit more shadow as if it's actually submerging, coming from the Doppler logo. I can't wait to see these in real life. This is a t-shirt that I actually want. So I said to Nico, when we discussed the budget for the project, if I'm designing a t-shirt, I'll always ask for one of the actual t-shirts as well. So fingers crossed, in a future drawing and exploring episode, you'll see me with this one on, I'd imagine. More cheese plant leaves. Varying sizes. There was a couple of bits of design. So there's this one, and then there's the foliage in the back piece as well. So flatten that down. That's one of the illustrative elements. Building up just a little bit of shadow. And this is the back. Teamwork makes the dream work. Same typeface, same photos of the plants, and just trying to make them overlap the letters a little bit. I guess here, one of the things I'm thinking as well is I never want to, if there's text being partially hidden by the design, I don't want to hide the parts of the letter that make it obvious what the letter is. So typically the plants will just overlay on corners, but you can see with the K, it's just where the arm that's on the top right kicks out, it's just got a leaf over that tiny bit, because then you can still see it's a K. It's not going to look like a, say, an R, for example. Yeah, going through adding these little veins on the leaves. These are the fine details that I think will look really cool when the t-shirts are printed up. With these, it was fun because when I was talking to Nico, we were figuring out what we're going to do, and we were saying, you know, obviously the t-shirt design is like the centerpiece, but then also this needs to work for like a flyer and kind of artwork elements that both the tree and Doppler can use going forwards. So I thought what would be cool is to keep the artwork all one color, and then ultimately hand over a bunch of transparent images where the design is just in white. Our thinking was that with this, you could just drop these images over stuff on Instagram stories. So if you take a video clip or a photo of the venue, or like the raves, or, you know, the parties that are going on, then I think you could drop these images over the top. I think in the end, the backgrounds weren't completely transparent. I put like a 10 or 20% tint all over just to make them stand off a little bit and make the background image just recess ever so slightly. They ended up quite nice. I'm quite happy with it. But yeah, just same as before really, just tracing the leaves, trying to keep them random. Somewhere I'm just adding in little ones, kind of like a couple of those that are on the left of this stem, just to try and make it look natural. Some places it can go behind the letter. Same thing with the M there. I want it just ever so slightly overlapping so you can still clearly read the message when you see the t-shirt. Dragging these in. Funny, I wonder where those leaves are. Funny to think that some leaves get photographed and then put into designs. I always think about this. I think about grains of sand, and I think, imagine being just one grain of sand in the world. Maybe it's a stupid hippy-dippy thought, but think of how many grains of sand there are, and then some of them end up in ornaments or, I don't know, whatever, used in artwork, scooped up and used in some kind of canvas or something like that. Is the sand that's on sandpaper actually sand, or is it like some man-made thing? Surely sand is super cheap to source, so you would think it would be actual sand. Think about grains of rice as well, like all the rice that grows in the world. Which rice did the Queen eat? Like, imagine being a grain of rice and it's like, wow, yeah, I'm actually going to the Queen's dinner. Or you could just be a grain of rice that's left at the end that someone doesn't scoop up on their plate. These are the sort of things I think about when I'm drawing these kind of designs. Add in a couple more horizontal pieces just to sit in between the letters and kind of make it look like the letters are coming out from behind. And here I'm going through and just erasing the parts where the text needs to be hidden. And then going through and adding some little black bits, just some shadows. Here's me on the laptop just dropping this stuff in. So this is the final mocks that went over to Nico, making the ink like a green colour. I thought that'd be pretty cool. And then this sort of typographic layout, I'd already made this. Dropping those in, putting the white ones onto the green. And then Nico's direction was for the graphic on the front to be small. There we go. These are the finished things. I'm looking forward to getting my hand on one of these t-shirts. Here's some of the mocks that I don't know, just took some videos that I had on my camera roll and just shown some of the layouts, just with some placeholder text.
So I'm not gonna lie, I snuck off and watched the football match. Out into the night now. It's a little bit cooler with the sun having gone down. Been looking, and they've got those you know, those like city plan scooters that are around, just like you get a bunch of them dumped in the city, scan the little QR code thing, you can ride them, it costs you like €2 or whatever. Got a bunch of those around, so I'm gonna try find one now. It says there's a few around here, and see if I can't get down to the old town a bit quicker. Call for prayers going out, that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a bunch of restaurants down that way. I figured just because today's episode I spent most of the time around there, I think it makes sense to go and have dinner around there and just finish exploring. So come with me whilst I try find one of these scooters.
Urban Taste of Orient. So this was a terrace with a view, so I thought I'd get inside. As soon as I got in, they said there's no space outside, so they sent me upstairs. But then this lady came and got me, and she said, yeah, we've got a table that's just come available outside. So I was like, perfect. I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna look at the bridge. The menu was really nice. As ever, I was thinking stuffed peppers and a couple of other bits. So I got these chicken skewers that came with some courgette and some sour cream. And there's the peppers. And a little side salad and some bread. This was a really, really nice munch. Look at that, look how good they look. I love the little kind of tomato oily sauce that they sit in as well. I just started to put it away. The sour cream with the chicken was an absolute touch. I love a white sauce with chicken, anything mayo, garlic mayo, sour cream, anything in that kind of region. And I was talking to the guy, this was a cool one. This guy who was coming over, he was a bit of a boy. And so I'm asking him about the local football team, and he says, yeah, Velej is the local team. And he said that I noticed that there's a bunch of Liverpool supporters, and he said that they like Liverpool because they simply wear red, the same as Velej, which works for me. This was something cool as well. You notice on the left here, I've had the big bottle of water, and he's brought over a little glass with a load of ice cubes in it. Yeah, the peppers are really good. They were really densely stuffed with almost like, I think it was beef mince maybe. But they were really kind of thick and weighty, but delicious. Yeah, I love that big glass of ice. What a touch. This was the rundown, 26.71. You got a very happy boy.
That was good, really good. The guy, the waiter, was a real cool guy as well. We're chatting away. He's telling me there's two local football teams. Apparently a team that wears red, which is the one that he liked, and a team that wears white. He said the derby goes off, so I might look at match day tickets while I'm here. Stuff to the gills. Time to make my way back home. But yeah, just want to thank anyone who locked in. If you're still with us, if you're still here, thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh God, I'm so full, it's literally hard to talk. If you want to plug in and see more of what I do, the best place to follow is the Instagram, so head over there. Regular posts, content, project work, final pieces, stuff like that, head there. The Instagram is @samgrubart. And that's also the same for the TikTok. I'm trying to cut down little clips from these episodes and put them up there, just so you can see what's happening there. Also, if you want to see more of my work for sort of bigger clients or bigger projects with more moving parts, head to samgrub.co.uk. That's my portfolio site. On there, you can click through to the shop. The shop is shop.samgrub.co.uk. That's your place for t-shirts and art prints and stickers and postcards and things like that. So head over there if you want to pick up any bits. But the main reason I'm doing this, I always say this at the end of each episode, I'm trying to drum up a bigger client base, an international client base, so I can keep this ball rolling and try to be on holiday for the rest of my life. So if that sounds like you, if you've watched the video and you need some work doing and you need a t-shirt designing for the collaboration between your nightclub and a bar across the road, get in touch. I'm the man for the job. You can email me at contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. Pop up there, shoot us a message, we'll get talking. and then hopefully get the project done. What I want to do is make it so it's self-sufficient. If I could get to the point where the only things that I'm drawing in these episodes are purely commissions that are being fielded through the inbox, that'd be the dream. And that way it'd just be consistent. There'd be a case of, you know, someone emails, we work the project out, and then they can see their project getting fleshed out and coming to life on a future episode, excuse me. So like I said, if that sounds like you, don't hesitate, get in touch. Sam Grubb at contact, sorry, Sam Grubb. Get in touch at contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. But yeah, for now I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go find myself one of those scooters again, whiz back home, chill out. I think I'm just going to watch Match of the Day and get to bed. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I've been Sam Grubb. This has been another episode of Drawing and Exploring.